Hello everyone, this is Hunter at Vapor Honing Technologies, and today we're going to be setting up a VH1000 machine, or showing you and guiding you through the setup process. Now, your machine won't look like this when it initially arrives. How this machine is going to look is it's going to be on a pallet and it's going to have a box over it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pull that box off while the truck driver stays there, check for any damages. If there is stuff damaged, please give us a call. We're happy to help replace that, get a claim filed, and get that going for you. If there's no damage, you're good to set up, you're good to go. So the first thing you're going to do is unbolt this from the pallet. Now we'll take an impact to get those bolts out of the pallet and get this machine off. We have left ours on just for the sake of this video. We're just going to walk through and show you how to set up. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to want to take all of the wrapping off. It's kind of like a new car when it first arrives to the dealership lot. You're going to take all of the wrapping off of the machine. So the next thing you're going to do is check if everything is inside of the machine over here. So if you order a closed loop system with the VH1000, it will be on the outside. It's not going to be inside like the 800s will, since they are metal basins. But what you'll see in here, you should have a 3-inch PVC pipe that's about a foot long in here, and you should have a measuring beaker. We'll get to the measuring beaker later, but you can insert this in the top of the machine. There is a flange that is in the top of the machine that 3-inch PVC pipe is just going to press into. The next thing you're going to do is, if you have a closed loop or an open loop, we're going to show you both ways. You're going to start to hook the machine up. So the first thing you'll want to hook up is this 1/2-inch rubber line. This goes to your closed loop system or open loop system, but we'll start with closed. Now, there will be a hose clamp on this that you have to tighten down after you press this hose into the black fitting on the diaphragm pump or the pneumatic pump that is on your closed loop system. The next thing you're going to want to hook up is the air line. So your air line on the back here, there's going to be a Y, and with the closed loop system, you're going to hook the 3/8-inch air line into that Y so that your air is connected to the pneumatic pump in the closed loop system. Now, let's say this was an open loop machine. It's going to look exactly like this right here. With the air line, there's not going to be a Y there. You don't need any extra fittings or lines connected to run a pump that's off of the machine like you do in the closed loop system. But this right here is going to be a brass fitting at the end of this. So it will screw into any garden hose out there. That's what you're going to connect to connect the machine to water. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to fill the machine with water. Now we're going to step around to that side. So usually what I'll do when I fill this machine with water is I will lift the floor here. As you can see, the pump is standing straight up and down. That's one thing that you definitely want to check for. If your pump is sideways, your media will not agitate properly. It will not go to the gun properly, so you're not going to get flow. So that's the first thing that you want to make sure, is that that pump is standing vertically with the agitation tubes pointed towards the bottom back of the cabinet. Now, when you fill this with water, you'll see on the back side here that there are different holes drilled in the cabinet. Now, obviously, when you're filling this with water, the first thing you want to do is come around the back here and check that these two ball valves are closed. We do test these with water at the factory, so sometimes they may not close them or they may come open to your door. So just make sure that those two ball valves are closed, or else you're going to flood your shop where you're putting this machine. Cannot attest to how I know that. I may have done it once or twice before, but on the top here, you'll notice that there is a ball valve with an overflow valve on it. Now, this is your automatic overflow valve. Keep in mind, we're not hooked up to air yet, so this is open. So when you're filling the inside of this machine with water, once that water starts overflowing out of this top ball valve here, you know the inside of your machine is full. Now, if you're on an open loop system, that's all the water you'll need. You just go ahead and connect your water to your hose on the back of the machine, and you're good to go after you fill the machine up with media and hook up your air. Now, if you have a closed loop, you're going to have to fill your basins with water. Now, the basins will be on the back side here. If this were set up as a closed loop, you're going to want to make sure each basin is filled about 1 inch from the top. That is the ideal level that you will want your basins filled to so that you have enough water that can circulate back into the machine and you can get ample window rinse time and rinse down time inside of the cabinet. So the next thing that you are going to want to do while setting up your machine, since we've already filled it with water, is put your abrasive into the machine. Now, I like to lift the floor and dump the abrasive in, but what you can do is you can put it directly on the floor too. And then once you hook up your air, wash it down with your rinse nozzle. I, again, like lifting the floor just because it's not wasting my time to have to sit there and rinse down the abrasive after you put it in the cabinet, but you can do it either way. This particular machine takes 32 pounds of abrasive. So if you have any questions about, if you're doing, let's say, a mixture of glass bead and aluminum oxide, how much of each you put in, give our sales office a call. We're always happy to help you. Our number will be at the end of the video and in the description. But to continue on, the next thing you're gonna do is you are going to hook your air up. So if we come around this side and get this out of the way. So right here is our air hookup. This is a 1/2 inch MPT fitting on this cabinet. Most of our cabinets have this fitting if they are the more industrial cabinets from the 800 FL and up. If you're under an 800 FL, this fitting is going to be a 1/4 inch, but this one is 1/2 inch MPT. We leave it blank here. Some people like to use quick connects. Some will just use a regular fitting, but you just want to connect your air next and turn it on and you'll hear that air go to the machine. So the next thing is hooking up your power. So on this machine in particular, we've designed this as a 110. Comes with a GFCI. It just goes right into the plug right here, as so, and then flip the machine on and it turns on. So some of you may get your machine 220, whether it's because you're a heater or you're outside of the US and you need a 220. We just send the wires capped at that point, and the reason that we leave them capped is because there's so many variations of plugs, or some people choose to hardwire theirs in. There's a lot of different ways that you can set up the machine if it comes to 20, so we leave that blank for the customer to decide. But our model here is a 110, so we just plugged it right up. We have turned it on. Obviously, you want to make sure inside that your lights are functioning the way that they need to. They are, so both lights are on and shining bright. Now, the last thing you'll want to do before you start using this machine is if we come around to the back again, you'll see this regulator right here. You need to make sure that this is set on 60 PSI. What this regulator controls is your automatic overflow valve. So this pressurizes the little bladder that's inside of this so that no water leaks out. And that's very important because while you're blasting, if any of that leaks out, you're losing abrasive too, since that's being agitated. So you just want to make sure this is set to 60 PSI. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to come around the front again, and we're gonna go back to this little measuring cup. So this is a 100 milliliter beaker, and what this does is this measures your water to abrasive ratio. So before you start blasting, you're just gonna wanna mix that slurry up in the hopper, step on the foot pedal for a few minutes, keep your air at 0, and you're going to hold the gun like so over the cup. You may have to hold your hand over the cup like this so it doesn't just bounce out. What you want out of this is to make sure you have 20 milliliters of abrasive to 100 milliliters of water. So you're gonna fill this cup up the whole way and let that settle for a few minutes. And if your abrasive is showing right here at the 20 milliliter mark, you know you're good inside of your cabinet in terms of water to abrasive ratios. So if you guys have any questions, please give us a call. Our number here is 828-202-5563.